Welcome back to Important Updates, global news without the noise. Subscribe to stay updated. This is why you need to pay attention to the West Philippine Sea right now. Tensions are rising in the West Philippine Sea, a flashpoint in Southeast Asia. This is a conflict shaped by geography, history, and power. The Philippines, a U.S. ally, faces mounting pressure from China over these contested waters. At stake, international law, regional stability, and the balance of power in Asia. The heart of the dispute is overlapping claims. The Philippines bases its rights on international law, specifically its exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, 200 nautical miles from its coast, as defined by UNCLOS. Within this zone, the Philippines has the right to resources like fish, oil, and gas. China, however, claims almost the entire South China Sea based on historical rights, overlapping the EEZs of the Philippines and other neighbors. The U.S. enters as a treaty ally, committed to defending the Philippines and upholding freedom of navigation. Washington insists disputes be settled peacefully, but China's assertiveness has drawn the U.S. deeper into the conflict. What began as a regional dispute is now a major test between global superpowers. The situation is complex. Legal arguments, military maneuvers, and economic interests all collide here. For ordinary people it may seem distant, but the outcome could affect global trade, energy prices, and international law. Understanding this conflict is key to understanding the shifting power dynamics of our time. It's a story of a smaller nation standing up for its rights, backed by a global power, against a rising giant. The world is watching closely. The West Philippine Sea is more than a map dispute. It's a battle over the rules that govern our world. The consequences will ripple far beyond these troubled waters. The Philippines stands at the front line, determined to defend its sovereignty. The next moves could shape the future of the region and the world. This is the story of the West Philippine Sea, and it's far from over. Why does the West Philippine Sea matter so much? The answer lies beneath the waves. These waters are rich in fish, vital for millions of Filipinos' livelihoods and food security. But foreign vessels, especially from China, now threaten traditional fishing grounds, putting coastal communities at risk. Beyond fishing, the seabed holds vast reserves of oil and natural gas, potentially billions of barrels and trillions of cubic feet. For the Philippines, these resources could mean energy independence and economic growth. The Recto Bank within the Philippine EEZ is believed to hold the country's largest untapped gas reserves. With the Malampaya gas field running dry, Recto Bank is crucial for future energy security. Control over these waters means control over immense wealth. For China, securing new energy sources is a strategic priority. For the Philippines, it's about survival and sovereign rights. The competition for these resources fuels the conflict. This is not just a territorial dispute, it's a high-stakes battle for energy and economic power. The outcome will shape the region's future. The treasure beneath the waves is worth fighting for. China's claim to the South China Sea is symbolized by the sweeping 9-dash line on its maps. This line covers nearly 90% of the sea, cutting deep into the EEZs of the Philippines and other neighbors. China argues its claim is based on centuries-old historical rights, presenting ancient maps as evidence. But most of the world rejects this claim. In 2013, the Philippines challenged China at an international tribunal under UNCLOS. China refused to participate, but the case moved forward. In 2016, the tribunal ruled decisively for the Philippines. China's 9-dash line has no legal basis. The ruling affirmed the Philippines' rights to its EEZ and resources. China dismissed the decision, calling it waste paper, and continues to ignore it. This defiance of international law is at the heart of the conflict. For the Philippines, the 2016 ruling is the foundation of its position. For China, it's an obstacle to regional dominance. This legal and political standoff drives ongoing tensions. China hasn't stopped at legal claims. It's changed the landscape at sea. Massive dredging has turned reefs into artificial islands, now bristling with military infrastructure. These outposts serve as forward bases for China's military and coast guard. China's gray zone tactics, coercion short of war, include deploying Coast Guard and maritime militia to harass Filipino fishermen and block supply missions. At Ayungin Shoal, Filipino Marines are stationed on a grounded ship, a symbol of sovereignty. Resupplying them is a constant struggle, with Chinese ships using water cannons and dangerous maneuvers. Similar harassment occurs at Scarborough Shoal and other areas. The message from Beijing: these waters are China's, regardless of international law. This pattern of intimidation has pushed the Philippines to seek stronger support from allies. Manila knows it cannot face this challenge alone. China's bold moves demand a response. The standoff is escalating. The United States has responded with clear, ironclad support for the Philippines. The 1951 Mutual Defense Treaty commits both nations to defend each other in case of armed attack. Recent U.S. statements leave no doubt an attack on Philippine forces in the South China Sea will trigger American commitments. This is a powerful deterrent, signaling to Beijing that aggression has consequences. U.S. leaders, including President Biden, have repeatedly affirmed this pledge. The U.S. sees China's actions as a threat to the rules-based international order. Support goes beyond words. Washington backs the 2016 arbitral ruling and urges China to comply. The current Philippine administration is more assertive, and the U.S. has endorsed this stance. U.S. assistance includes modernizing the Philippine military and Coast Guard, providing patrol vessels, aircraft, and surveillance technology. The goal: empower the Philippines to defend its rights with U.S. backing if a crisis erupts. This partnership strengthens Manila's position on the world stage. It's about more than defense. It's about upholding international law. The U.S.-Philippine alliance is now stronger than ever. The message to China is unmistakable. The world is watching. U.S. support is not just talk. It's visible on the ground and at sea. Joint military exercises like Balikatan have grown larger and more focused on real-world threats. These drills now simulate responses to attacks in the West Philippine Sea, enhancing both nations' readiness. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement allows the U.S. to preposition equipment and build facilities at key Philippine bases, including new sites near Taiwan and the disputed waters. This expanded access gives U.S. forces greater flexibility and rapid response capability. The U.S. Navy conducts freedom of navigation operations, challenging China's excessive claims by sailing near artificial islands. These operations reinforce that the U.S. does not recognize China's territorial assertions. Joint maritime and air patrols with the Philippines further demonstrate alliance and deterrence. These patrols help monitor the EEZ and send a clear message to potential aggressors. The sight of U.S. and Philippine ships together is a powerful symbol of resolve. The military partnership is deeper than ever. The U.S. presence is a constant reminder: the Philippines is not alone. The stakes are high, and the alliance is ready. Military power is only part of the strategy. Diplomacy is just as vital. The U.S. regularly condemns China's coercive actions, calling out aggression and rallying international support. Washington is building a coalition with allies like Japan and Australia, holding trilateral summits and joint naval exercises. The U.S. raises the South China Sea issue in global forums, encouraging others to support international law and the 2016 ruling. Statements from the EU, UK, and others echo U.S. positions, isolating China diplomatically. The U.S. amplifies the Philippines' voice, sharing evidence of Chinese harassment and countering disinformation. This shapes the global narrative: a smaller nation defending its rights, backed by the international community. The world is uniting for a rules-based order. Diplomacy and alliances are key to deterring further aggression. The message is clear: the world stands with the Philippines. The future of the West Philippine Sea is uncertain and risky. China is unlikely to back down, having invested heavily in its claims and artificial islands. The Philippines, emboldened by legal victory and U.S. support, is more determined than ever. This sets the stage for more confrontations at sea. The greatest danger: a miscalculation, an accident or clash could quickly escalate, drawing in the U.S. under the defense treaty. Both sides are likely to continue their tactics, leading to a tense, prolonged standoff. The economic and environmental costs could be high, disrupting fishing, energy exploration, and marine life. Yet there's still a path to de-escalation if China changes course or diplomacy prevails. Back-channel talks and clear communication are essential to prevent disaster. The goal is not conflict, but to show that aggression is counterproductive. The next chapter depends on choices made now. The West Philippine Sea is more than a regional dispute. It's a test for the world. Will disputes be settled by law or by force? If powerful nations ignore international rulings, global stability is at risk. That's why global attention matters. When countries send ships or issue statements, it reinforces that these are international waters. Media coverage exposes the reality, creating pressure for peaceful solutions. The South China Sea is a vital shipping lane. Any conflict here affects the global economy. Maintaining peace is in everyone's interest. The Philippines, with US and global support, stands for the principle that all nations have rights under law. The world is watching, because what happens here shapes the future, for everyone.